Armageddon and rumors of Armageddon. Giving all praise to Yahweh Shem El Shai B'Shem Rakakwadash. And this is a video that was put up by 60 Minutes Australia on YouTube. And the title of the video is, as you can see, Prepare for Armageddon. China's warning to the world, 60 Minutes Australia. I'll let you listen to, Anyway, I'll leave the link in the description box. And they chose this word Armageddon because they know the meaning of the word Armageddon. They know that it's a biblical term. And believe it or not, it's mentioned only one time in the scriptures, which is Revelation chapter 16. And the word Armageddon in the Hebrew is Armageddon, which means mountain of troops. You heard the term in Christianity, in the Christian circles, the Valley of Decision, which is a Valley of Megiddo. Megiddo is a shorter version of the word Armageddon. It's a place. It's in the Middle East. If you go to Joel, the second chapter, it speaks about the Northern Army being gathered together, and that place is called. It's like the middle of the Levant. Look that word up. You know, the Valley of Jehoshaphat. That area in between compasses the Euphrates and the Tigris is northeast to the Euphrates. So you know, if you take out an ancient map or even a modern map and you go to the river Euphrates, on the right of it, northeast of it, is the Tigris River, which is mentioned in Genesis, the second chapter, excuse me. It mentions the four rivers. So all these major nations that possess these the missiles and the modern weapons, which includes the U.S., America, which is Babylon, and China, I would say that they will be down there too, because they're a power to be reckoned with. You know, the other day there was an article, and I'll probably do a video on that, on how China has surpassed the U.S. as far as money is concerned. Economically, China has just surpassed the U.S. Coming back to that location, the Valley of Decision, you have the Euphrates. You also have, going west, southwest, you have the Red Sea. You have, if you go south of the Euphrates, you run into the Persian Gulf, another area, part of that Levant. You got Iran, you got Afghanistan, Then you got the Nile, which is in Egypt. You got parts of North Africa. That's that meeting place, but it's going to be concentrated in that desert. Saudi Arabia, between the two bodies of water, the Red Sea, the Euphrates, and the Red Sea. And that's the fulfillment of Joel, the Northern Army being America. But, here it is. You got this video, and they're using the term Armageddon. Prepare for Armageddon, China's warning to the world. And if I was to click on it, they don't pull any punches. Now this is a video that and I'll let you listen to a little of it. I hope they don't take it down. Anyway, this is AMTV. By Chris Green, and I've listened to him on and off. The title is The Empire Has Collapsed. And the empire that he's talking about is the United States. And so it says the title is The Empire Has Collapsed. Hyperinflation is here in 2022. What we're experiencing right now is a thing called inflation. When prices go up, things go up in price. And that's not so much because of supply and demand. It's because the dollar is becoming weaker and weaker because they're putting more dollars into the system. You go to a bar and you ask for a drink, some vodka, and you say I'm not paying for this because this is watered down. They stretch the vodka with water. To take away the potency of it. I do that with wine. I'll take red wine, strong red wine, and I'll put some water in there to take away the potency and the sweetness of it. So it's the same thing with money. You're stretching that dollar by putting more dollars into the system. And if you keep doing it, it turns into hyperinflation where prices just go up, hour by hour, half an hour by half an hour, minute by minute, day by day. Dramatically. That happened, if you go back in the history, the Weimar Republic, and more recently the Zimbabwe with Robert Mugabe. And we did a video on that when it happened, where they had a $1 billion paper note that couldn't even buy a loaf of bread. And this is worldwide inflation that will turn into hyperinflation. Anyway, let me let you listen, and I'll come back and I'll say a few more words and I'll end it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Green, AMTV, hard-hitting and in your freaking face. Like and share this video. America is done. America is absolutely done. We are living in the aftermath of the grotesque.
Now, this is a so-called white man saying that. This is a so-called white man saying that.
Collapse of the once great civilization that is now turning into ashes, kind of like Rome or Babylon or any other.
You heard what he said? Kind of like Rome or Babylon. And this system is the Roman system all over again. The deadly wound that was healed. And he also said, you heard him say it, Babylon. Why didn't he say Persia, the Persia and the Medes? You know, or the Assyrians. He could have said the Assyrians. He could have said the Egyptians. But he compared America to two places. Because many systems, many empires came up into power and they went down and they went down. So why did he mention those two? That's through the Spirit. Let's listen to that again.
Grotesque collapse of the once great. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Green, AMTV, hard-hitting and in your freaking face. Like and share this video. America is done. America is absolutely done. We are living in the aftermath of the grotesque collapse of the once great civilization that is now turning into ashes, kind of like Rome or Babylon or any other empire that later crumbles, typically after about 250 years, which is exactly...
And that's what experts say. Empires last for anywhere from 200 to 250 years. You know, you had the Roman Empire, which lasted longer. The empire part was about 200 years. From before Julius Caesar all the way up to Domitian, which was a young son of Vespasian. After that, you had Jake. I always talk about that. So really, this system went down when when Edomites were ruling the Roman Empire. See, they know, Esau knows the truth that Jake took over around about in the late 90s into the early 100 AD period. All the way up to the Byzantine Empire until the downfall of the Byzantine Empire. And this is all in the scriptures. We've been saying this for years.
What's happening now. We are living through a hyperinflationary event, and I'm not the only one saying this. Jack Dorsey, founder and creator of Twitter, is saying hyperinflation is in the United States. We have the Winklevoss brothers saying we need to get as many people into Bitcoin as possible before hyperinflation.
Now, if you're going to ask me, what do you think about Bitcoin? Should I invest in Bitcoin? I don't think so. I mean, I wouldn't. I don't understand it. I don't understand. I don't know who pulls the strings with the whole Bitcoin situation.
This is a moral imperative, he says, not an investment thesis. We have Apple CEO Tim Cook inheriting one of the world's largest companies from Steve Jobs, finally admitting, yeah, he owns cryptocurrency, he owns Bitcoin. He's been covering it up for years, not telling you the truth about it, not disclosing publicly to his shareholders. He's just been pumping his long gone of bashing TVs in the streets like what I used to do. Understand, this is when you can't dislike a video. The days are long gone of bashing TVs in the streets like what I used to do, which was like the legitimate Fight Club and super awesome. So also, we are not getting the real reports of what's really going on in the world today. The mainstream media is blacking out protests worldwide. Millions of people are in the streets. They're in the streets here in Hawaii, but you're not hearing about it. I've been in the streets in Maui, but you don't hear about it because it's not in the news. All information is controlled at this point. We've been talking about this for years. Super algorithms basically decide what you read and plant into your mind, what to think, programming your behavior to focus on stories that have really no credence at all and shouldn't be the biggest news, but they are because they avoid the real news. Let me give you an example of this. Kyle Rittenhouse. Yes, I understand the narrative and I understand the story, but could care less. The real story is the millions of Americans losing their jobs over health status and changing mandates and being locked in their home in parts of Europe, persecuting individuals over these kinds of things. That's the real crisis, but it's not really being talked about. Because again, as long as they can keep you involved in this two-party fakery system, which doesn't exist, the Trump versus Biden, the Biden versus Trump, they win. And what many of you are missing, what many of you don't see and don't understand, I'm preaching to the choir to you guys, I know you get it. I know you understand, but the American people don't get, is they are willfully collapsing us and transitioning and moving us into a new system by dumping the old one and getting rid of it. Flushing down the toilet old America, the 9 to 5s, the industrial age, work your whole life and someday maybe you'll retire. All that is changing and moving into a new digitized system, an open new platform of which they knew was coming.
Digitized system. Hold on, let me see if it's in here. Bear with me for a minute. I just want to jump to it. You can watch this whole video. Anyway, he even speaks about the charagma. Whether he knows it biblically or let's listen.
Contact lens game, not a cumbersome overlay like a glasses or a thick. What's your take on that? Is that too hard?
I mean, some people are working on that. I think that that's quite a bit further off, just because, think about it. It's like whatever is projecting the image needs to have an internet connection. It needs to be powered, right? So,
Yeah.
So I mean, I've seen some people have a model of a contact lens that has a little projector that's sort of like in front of your pupil and your blind spot, and it can project something in. But then how are you going to kind of have that sync with the whole rest of the internet and be powered throughout the day? That's a very
what if
hard
I
problem.
what if I swallowed a 5G pill?
I don't know. Let's say 20 years from now, I think that might be an
Yeah.
idea.
He's like, can I wear a contact lens implanted in my brain so I can connect to the metaverse and then swallow that pill like Brave New World, like a soma, so I'm connected into this new internet platform? Now, it's not all bad, just like the internet in and of itself isn't bad, but it's bad when it's consolidated and controlled and completely censored, and you can't use it the way that you intend. So it is a worst case scenario. It is the end of an empire. It is the ashes of what once was America, where people don't even have the right to work, yet alone the right over their own bodily sovereignty. End of days in the United States of America. You need to prepare now. You need to be getting into crypto. You need to be learning about this stuff. You need to be hedging against the...
See, his solution is get into the cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin. No, that's not going to prepare you. The only ones that have the right to be prepared or get prepared are the Israelites, or the elect. That's going to be delivered when Armageddon takes place, the war of Armageddon, the destruction. See, Esau knows something's around the bend. Esau knows that there's something knocking at the door, but they can't put all the pieces of the puzzle together. And they all watch us. This is it. He mentioned about he showed the clip of this guy, Zuckerberg, talking about if you have something that in your eye and then connected to your brain and all that. That's the charagma. That's why we always talk about the charagma, especially now. We always go into the charagma, because that's what's getting ready to come to pass. There was something in the news concerning police, NYPD, firemen that stayed on the job but got bootleg, C-19 passes. But they were like bootleg passes. So what they're going to do is they're going to come up with a system where they put the charagma in your hand or in your forehead. Like I said before, people are saying that the jab is the charagma. No, the jab is not the charagma. The jab is just is an introduction to the charagma, let's say. And I can't say that enough. We all know the precepts. I don't got to read the precepts. Revelation 13, verses 15, 16, and 17, and 18, because it's based upon the 3 6s. These other camps, these other major camps out here that, keeps teaching this nonsense, they're gonna get caught up in it. The Most High is not dealing with them 100%. Anyway, that's it. That's all I'm gonna say. Shalom.